Hi Fantasy Managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to go through my wildcard side for game week 26. I'm going to talk about the reasons why I have wildcarded in game week 26 because I have hit the button. I'm live with my wildcard, going to look at my chip strategy and how that ties in with why I wildcarded, and also have a look at the team. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, let's take a look. So on screen then I have the situation in terms of the wildcard. I'm not going to go through my team exactly. It is going to be team dependent on whether it's the right strategy for you to wildcard in game week 26 or 27. What I will say is the important information from my point of view is that I'm doubling in game week 27, and there's going to be a free hit that I'll take in game week 28, and then there's that double game week in 29. Now for me to really maximise those double game weeks, I'm going to need to be free hitting. I don't have any Brighton players or Brentford players in at the moment, and both of those sides double in 27 and 29. Looking at other opportunities to use the wildcard, I don't think there's going to be many others coming up between now and the end of the season. You could wait until 32, especially if you haven't maybe used your free hit. You could use it to perhaps then negotiate 28, but I've got the free hit, so I certainly couldn't target those Brentford and Brighton players without using that free hit in game week 28, because the likes of Brighton, Liverpool, Manchester United, Man City are all going to blank in 28. But I don't need to worry about jumping off all of those players because I can simply free hit them out. So with that strategy in mind, Brentford will obviously playing 28, but I can really target those players, and I think this is the maximum time of opportunity for me to do it. I did consider waiting until game week 27, but you know what? I don't think I need to with the fixtures. I'm just happy to hit those players now and just move forward. And also coming out of the free hit, or sorry, for game 27, I can use another transfer to set myself coming out the other end. So I just feel at the moment I'm in a better position. And the sooner I wildcard, the easier it possibly is now to set up for game week 32, which we'll look at the end of the video, because it does possibly present a few issues, but I think I can negotiate it. So that said, let's have a look at the seed side that I put together. I think it's an obvious no-brainer. Top scoring goalkeeper so far is Raya. He's got a double in 27, double in 28. They are away from home. Good for save points, Raya. I just think with those two extra fixtures, I have to bring him in at 4.8. He's an absolute no-brainer. He has Fulham at home as well this week, so I'm pretty happy to bring him in. Free hitting against Leicester in 28 doesn't really make any difference to me. Brentford just look really solid. For those extra fixtures, yeah, I definitely want to go Raya. I will have that safety net, we'll say, of Ward. Doesn't matter for the free hit game that they're playing each other, Raya and Ward, because I'm free hitting. And again, they have that extra fixture in game week 29. But I just don't see myself really going to be playing Ward too many times over the top of Raya. Possibly game week 30 when they got Bournemouth at home, and Raya has Newcastle. So that possibly be the only time. But I certainly trust that Brentford defence over Leicester at the moment. Moving into defence, I think Trippier is an obvious choice. Doubles in 29, has the Wolves fixture as well. Probably still going to keep him for the free hit with Forest. Just offers so much attacking threat. Even though he hasn't kept a clean sheet in the last 3 games, he comes off the back of a long string of clean sheets. And it's just set pieces, nailed, good side. Difficult game against City away this weekend. Probably going to bench him. That's not an issue. He has to come in, just if for nothing else, for those assist potential. But Newcastle still look good defensively this season. I'm more than happy. I'm not going to double up. I know some people have. I just think one's enough for me at the moment. Trippier, I'll bring him in. Zinchenko, great fixtures all the way through up until game week 30 we see, which is where Liverpool. He looks pretty good value at the moment, getting on the assists and goal involvement as well. Look at that, 9.77, good for bonus points. Zinchenko comes in at 5.1. Goal involvement possibly going up as we talk, as Arsenal free flow and scoring. Those fixtures as well, you just expect him to come and play more games. And there's a possibility of him playing in midfield later on as well. He does have that in his sort of bow in his quiver, as it were. Ben Mee, I know lots of people, you could go a little bit for Pinnock to save money. You could go the likes of is one of the fullbacks as well, potentially Henry. I think for me is pretty nailed on. And with those fixtures, extra games, they are away, so that does worry me, especially 29. Brighton away, Man U away, difficult fixtures. But I think the payoff is you've got Everton, Southampton, both away, opportunities there to get clean sheets, and even Fulham at home. So quite happy to go Ben Mee. He looks nailed on. Not much goal threat. If I get anything from him, I'll be absolutely thrilled. But doubling up on that Brentford, pretty happy to with the extra 2 fixtures I'm getting. Luke Shaw has to come in for me as well. We got double game week in 29. Even without the clean sheet, he just seems to offer quite a bit going forward, XGI-wise. Got a couple of clean sheets recently. Southampton at home in 28 looks like a good fixture. Probably would bench him for this week against Liverpool. But Luke Shaw, yeah, I want to keep a Man United player in there, just playing so well. But it might cause me an issue for the 32. We'll have to wait and see. Estupinian could go Duffy. I absolutely have the money to do that. Estupinian, he's got a flag, but he did play 60 plus minutes in the FA Cup. So hopefully he's come through that. Seems to be just taken off as precaution. He should be fit for the weekend. West Ham at home, decent fixture. Then the doubles, 27-29. I want a Brighton player in there, and we'll see. I'll get 3 in, but I do want one of those defensive Brighton players to come in. Talking of Brighton players then, I'm going to double up in midfield. Mitoma feels like the one to go for. We've already talked about fixtures, super cheap price. XGI looks really good. 5.3, he has to play for me. He looks really good. For the price you're paying, you're getting a goal involvement more than Saka. I wouldn't expect him to outscore him, but his stats are there. Mitoma looks absolutely nailed. And then the other one is a little bit controversial, but we've seen, as has been documented with a few other content providers, he's getting forward. If he's playing in that ACM sort of role, just behind the striker, he's getting so many shots in and about the box. His XGI 0.38 is much higher in the last few games. He is on penalties as well. I just want him in. He looks absolutely nailed in that side. He looks like a really good player to me, 5.4. I would prefer, I think, to go with him over Solly March. I don't think it's a bad decision to go the other way either, though. McAllister or March, I'm going to plumb for McAllister. Penalties in his back pocket as well. But I think I'd prefer that too. Marcus Rashford has to come in again. I don't think he's a player I can go without. I'd probably play him away at Liverpool. Then a good fixture against Southampton. Free hitting in 28, so it doesn't matter. Then he's got the double. They look good to me. And then you come into next player we've got on the list, Saka. I feel like I've got to have 3 Arsenal players that are playing so well, so free scoring. 3 out of the next 4 weeks are going to be at home. Palace, even in a free hit side, I think I'll be bringing him in. Bournemouth looks like a great fixture. So, yeah, Saka I've got to have. And as well as Saka, I think I've got to go Odegaard. So I'm not going to talk about him much. Saka and Odegaard, the obvious choices. And Zinchenko, possibility of Trossard, but I just worry with him some minutes and Martinelli. And the same reason I would back away from Martinelli. Up front, I have to go Haaland. Not even going to talk about that anymore. He's the only City player I've got. I'm not sure I could trust anyone else in terms of the City. Difficult games as well. Blanks 28, Liverpool at home, Palace away, not an easy fixture. And Newcastle, we know how tight they are, but they are City. They can score against anyone. Haaland, the only player I think is absolutely nailed in that side. He's got to come in. Up front as well, I think completing the trio of Brentford players, I've got to go Ivan Toney. 2 sets of decent fixtures. He is the only thing I could have possibly have waited for is game week 27, the Wildcard. Just see if he picks up a yellow. He's 2 yellows away from a ban. So that would be a 2-match ban. And he does have these charges over him at the moment as well. So I'll leave it to last minute to hear any news on him. If nothing happens, he plays against Fulham. Therefore, he should at least play one of those doubles, and either or both of them are good. If he doesn't, I think it's a pretty straightforward swap to Watkins. So I'm not too worried, and I don't feel it's too much of a risk. I have a backup plan against Toney at all times, but he just has to play with those fixtures, nail pens, all of that sort of good stuff that we know. And then finally, Kane. He looks good. A possible double in 29 as well, so I've got to bear that in mind. But he comes in, and I've got the money to be able to afford him. So that is my wild card side. Like I said, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. It comes out at 99.7 million. The way it would work out is, I think, on the bench, I've got a decision to make there. Trippier and Shaw, I think, have to sit on the bench. Rashford, I'm not wildly keen on taking him out. I'm struggling to think who else would possibly be benched. I did consider Kane. Difficult one. At the moment, I'm potentially lumping with Rashford on the bench away at Liverpool. And Liverpool have Van Dijk back. A couple of clean sheets. Possibly keeping Rashford quiet, but no one else seems to be doing it. So that's a risk. It's a nice problem to have. I could take out one of my Brighton players playing Rashford, but do I think Brighton were more likely to score at home to West Ham than Man U away at Liverpool? Yeah, I think probably. And even the captaincy is an issue. Saka possibly away at Bournemouth or Haaland at home to Newcastle. We'll have to wait and see. One of those is the choice. 27, it looks really good as well. That is not how I'd line up. I wouldn't have Rashford on the bench, I don't think. But again, difficult. I think I'd possibly take out Odegaard and bring Rashford in against Southampton. Tony would have to get the armband, provided he doesn't pick up a yellow in game week 26, because I know he'll play both games then in 27. Moving forward, free hit side, yep, I've got so many players out, I'd have to free hit. That's not a problem. We'll cross that bridge when we get it. I've got it in my back pocket. 29, it looks decent again. And I've got so many players doubling, that looks fine. I'll cross that bridge of who will play in that side later on. The only other thing that could possibly cause me any issues looking much further forward is the FA Cup semi-finals in game week 32. Now, we know the quarter-final lineup, who's playing, and this is the team as it would be at the moment. With the worst case scenario for me for the FA Cup semi-final is that Rashford, Espina, McAllister, Matoma, Trippier, Shaw, all of those do not get a game. So that possibly would be an issue for me, and that's the way the side was set up. So I would have 4 players there not playing plus a bench. I've got transfers in the meantime to deal with that, and also at this point, the fixtures kind of turn for Brighton, so I'm going to be starting to offload those players anyway. So those are 3 players I could bring in. Worst case, I think I'd end up with 10 players, and that's assuming that the likes of Manchester United qualify for the semi-final, get through, and Brighton do as well, and Man City. So worst case, I think 10 players out and game week 32. Given the benefits of everything else I've talked about and using the chip strategy in Wildcard, I think that's a small price to pay, but I still think I can handle and deal with it. And that's my strategy going forward, and that is my wildcard side. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you are wildcarding for game week 26. If not, when do you intend to do it? And what do you think of the side? Is there any players that I'm overlooking that you think I should have brought in? In the meantime, we'll be back at you before the deadline with the team selection. So don't forget to hit subscribe. Make sure you like it, and I shall speak to you soon.